Hello and a very warm welcome. Thank you, Tasneem, Pranavi, Preeti, and Komal for joining in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh, Today we begin reading You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Before we jump into chapter 1, let us understand what this book is really about. The title itself sounds fascinating, doesn't it? You
Mm,
Are the Placebo. Usually, we discussed this yesterday as well, but I will very briefly say this again. When we
mm,
hear the word placebo, we think it's a fake medicine. So today in the afternoon, I was, telling my daughter that we have started a new book and it is, You Are the Placebo. So she's like, अच्छा हम fake pill है क्या? हम fake medicine है क्या? And people think that it is a sugar pill, something with no real medical powers. But this book asks a very bold question: कि what if the real power was never in the pill? What if the power was always inside the person taking it? And that is exactly what this book explores. Now, this book is divided into two parts. First part के अंदर है information, जो हमारे को explain करने वाले हैं इसके अंदर what the placebo effect is, how thoughts influence the body, how beliefs affect our health, and how emotions impact healing, and how the brain and the body communicate. So, in simple words, before asking us to practice anything, Dr. Joe Dispenza first wants us to understand why change is possible. He wants us to move from I don't think I can change to maybe change is scientifically possible. Okay, that is about part one. Part two, part two is about meditation. It becomes a little practical side of the book. Okay, in this he teaches meditation techniques and exercises. So part one जो है, it answers why does this work, and part two answers how do I do it. So think about it like learning to drive. Part one teaches the theory, and part two hands you the steering wheel so that अभी चला के देखो. ठीक है? And chapter number 1. Now we come to the chapter number 1. And chapter number 1 is it possible? Now today's chapter is basically one question. A question that Dr. Joe Dispenza wants us to ask ourselves. Is it possible? Is it possible that thoughts affect our body? Is it possible that हमारी जो expectations है वो हमारी reality को influence करता है? Is it possible कि the stories that we keep telling ourselves वो हमारा truth बन जाती हैं? So tonight we begin exploring these questions. Okay? So let me very quickly start sharing the screen so that we can read this book together. And in between, we will take breaks to dive deeper into the stories. Okay? Are you excited?
Karishma, later please try to send this PDF pattern in the group, dear.
I forgot in the afternoon as well. I'll do that tonight. Okay. Oh. Okay. So, chapter number 1, that is part 1 का chapter number 1, information के बारे में, and is it possible? Sam Londe, a retired shoe salesman living outside of St. Louis, is the early 1970s, began to have difficulty swallowing. He eventually went to see a doctor who discovered that Londe had a metastatic esophagus cancer. In those days, metastatic esophageal cancer was considered incurable. No one had ever survived it. It was a death sentence, and Londe's doctor delivered the news in an inappropriately somber tone. To give Londe as much time as possible, the doctor recommended surgery to remove the cancerous tissues in the esophagus and in the stomach where the cancer had spread. Trusting the doctor, Londe agreed and had surgery. He came through as well as could be expected, but things soon went from bad to worse. A scan of Londe's liver revealed still more bad news. Extensive cancer throughout the liver's entire left lobe. The doctors told Londe that sadly, at best, he had only months to live. So Londe and his new wife, both in their 70s, arranged to move 300 miles of Nashville, where Londe's wife had family. Soon after the move to Tennessee, Londe was admitted to the hospital and assigned to internist Clifton Meador. The first time Mr. Meador walked into Londe's room, he found a small, unshaven man curled up underneath a mound of covers, looking nearly dead. Londe was gruff and uncommunicative, and the nurses explained that he had been like this since his admission a few days before. While Londe had high blood glucose levels due to diabetes, the rest of his blood chemistry was fairly normal except for slightly higher levels of liver enzymes, which was to be expected of someone with the liver cancer. Further medical examinations showed nothing more amiss, a blessing considered the patient's desperate condition. Under his new doctor's orders, Londe Begran क्या है begrudgingly
Begrudge, begrudgingly.
begrudgingly received physical therapy, a fortified liquid diet, and lots of nursing care and attention. After a few days, he grew a little stronger and his grumpiness started to subside. He began talking to Dr. Midder about his life. Londe had been married before and he and his wife had been true soulmates. They had never been able to have children, but otherwise had had a good life. Because they loved boating, when they retired, they had bought a house by a large man-made lake. Then late one night, the nearby earthen dam burst and a wall of water crushed into their house and swept it away. Londe miraculously survived by hanging on to some wreckage, but his wife's body was never found. I lost everything I ever cared for, he told Dr. Meadow. My heart and soul were lost in the flood that night. Within 6 months of his first wife's death, while still grieving and in depths of depression, Londe had been diagnosed with esophageal cancer and had had the surgery. It was then that he had met and married his second wife, a kind woman who knew about his terminal illness and agreed to care for him in the time he had left. A few months after they married, they made the move to Nashville, and Dr. Medder already knew the rest of the story. Once Londe finished the story, the doctor, amazed by what he had just heard, asked with compassion, "What do you want me to do for you?" The dying man thought for a while. "I would like to live through Christmas so I can be with my wife and her family. They have been good to me," he finally answered. "Just help me make it through Christmas. That's all I want." Dr. Meader told Londe he would do his best. By the time Londe was discharged in late October, he was actually in much better shape than when he had arrived. Dr. Meader was surprised but pleased by how well Londe was doing. The doctor saw his patient about once a month after that, and each time Londe looked good. But exactly 1 week after Christmas, on New Year's Day, Londe's wife brought him back to the hospital. Dr. Meader was surprised to find that Londe's again looked near death. All he could find was a mild fever and a small patch of pneumonia on Londe's chest x-ray, although the man didn't seem to be in a respiratory distress. All of Londe's blood tests looked good, and the cultures the doctors ordered for him came back negative for any other disease. Dr. Meader prescribed antibiotics and put his patient on oxygen, hoping for the best. But within 24 hours, Sam Londe was dead. As you might assume, this story is about a typical cancer diagnosis followed by an unfortunate death from a fatal disease, right? Not so fast. A funny thing happened when the hospital performed Londe's autopsy. The man's liver was, in fact, not filled with cancer. He had only very tiny nodules of cancer in its left lobe and another very small spot in his lung. The truth is, neither cancer was big enough to kill him. And in fact, the area around the esophagus was totally free from the disease as well. The abnormal liver scan taken at St. Louis Hospital had apparently yielded a false positive result. Sam Londe didn't die of esophageal cancer, nor did he die of liver cancer. He also didn't die of the mild case of pneumonia he had when he was readmitted to the hospital. He died quite simply because everybody in his immediate environment thought he was dying. His doctor at St. Louis thought Londe was dying. And when Dr. Meader in Nashville thought Londe was dying, Londe's wife and family thought he was dying too. And most important, Londe himself thought he was dying. Is it possible that Sam Londe died from thought alone? Is it possible that thought is that powerful? If so, is this the case? Is this case unique? चलो यहाँ पे एक थोड़ा break लेके let's discuss this. Good evening, Nisha. Thank you for joining in. All right. What do you understand and what is the catch that you got from this story?
That thoughts play a very important role.
Yes.
And it was actually not a disease, and that was just his thoughts and the thoughts of people around him. Um, that led to his death.
Yes. Just imagine now, this Sam Londe was diagnosed with the terminal cancer. Doctors ne bol diya he was dying. Family believed he was dying. He believed he was dying. Everybody around him expected death. And eventually, he died. और shocking news discovery क्या थी? जो autopsy थी, that revealed the cancer was nowhere near severe enough to kill him. Imagine that. The disease was not strong enough to kill him, yet he died. And फिर ऊपर से author is asking, could the expectation of death have contributed to his death? Now, before we go to extremes, let's understand the deeper lesson. This is not really a story about cancer. This is a story about belief. क्यों? क्योंकि whether it is health, relationship हो, confidence हो, success हो, कुछ भी हो, many people are living inside predictions. कोई अगर आपको आके बोल देता you will never do anything big, you start believing it. कोई आके बोल दे ये आपकी मैरिज वर्क नहीं करने वाली है, you believe it. कोई बोल दे कि you are not smart enough, you believe it. और कई सालों के बाद you come back and you say, see, it was true. क्योंकि you believed it, it happened so. But often we spend years unconsciously proving that the prediction was right. A very funny incident in our family is that my brother-in-law, he reads the horoscope every single day. He reads it early in the morning and at night he comes and tells me, Karishma, I read this in the morning and देख ले यही हुआ आज के दिन में. And I'm like, अभी मैं उनको क्या बोल सकती हूँ? He's my elder brother-in-law. I cannot say much about it. I'm like, nice, good prediction, huh?
True prediction. really true.
Yes.
Yeah.
A child, if the child is repeatedly told,
I mean, in the other way, your brother-in-law has already, whatever he has read, he has put it in his belief system and it has executed in the other way.
yes. And it is funny to me because I always keep telling कि नहीं होता बाबा, ऐसे नहीं होता. I agree only to the positive things. My husband knows palmistry and astrology and numerology and all of that. And there are times when I'm just sitting in a relaxed mood and I will say, "Chalo, kabhi mera bhi bata do," and tell me only the positive because I agree with only positive things. Don't tell me any negative. I don't believe it. जस्ट इमेजिन ना, अगर हम एक बच्चे को जस्ट लाइक प्रणव वी वाज शेयरिंग कि अगर हम किसी प्लांट को भी गाली दे के बार बार पानी देंगे तो इट इज गोइंग टू मुरझाओ, राइट? If a child is told constantly every single day कि you are useless, वो child is bound to grow up as a low confident person. The child grows up with the powerful belief कि मैं useless हूँ, and then starts collecting the evidences to support that belief. That is how the brain works, right? हमने ये कई बार डिस्कस किया है कि अगर आपके दिमाग में, अगर आपको पता करना है कि मैं कितनी इंटेलिजेंट हूँ, you tell yourself I am intelligent and brain will give you all the beautiful examples that you are so intelligent. You tell yourself I am dumb, आपका ब्रेन आपको खुद बताएगा कि हाँ भाई तूने ये भी किया था, that is so dumb of you. Yes, it is like wearing the whatever कौन से भी कलर का ग्लास आप पहनोगे, ग्लासेस, गॉगल्स, उसी कलर का आपको बाहर दिखने वाला है. आप ग्रीन पहन लो, आपको ग्रीन दिखना शुरू हो जाएगा. ब्राउन पहनो, ब्राउन दिखना शुरू हो जाएगा. यू wear black glasses, everything is going to look black, dark. एंड हम सबकी लाइफ में किसी ना किसी ने कुछ ना कुछ लेबल चिपकाया है. तू शाई है, तू इमोशनल है, तू वीक है, तू एवरेज है, तू इतना बढ़िया नहीं कर सकती, तेरा बिजनेस नहीं चलेगा, तू ना बहुत ज्यादा भोली है ना, ऑल ऑफ दैट. व्हाट?
जिद्दी.
हाँ, तू तो जिद्दी है. तू क्यों इतनी जिद्दी है? तू तो बहुत जिद्दी है. जिस बात के पीछे पड़ती है तू तो पीछे पड़ जाती है. और धीरे धीरे हम वो लेबल बन जाते हैं, नॉट बिकॉज दे आर ट्रू बट बिकॉज वी ऑल्सो बिलीव देम. तो पावर किसके हाथ में है? हमारे हाथ में, राइट? What belief about yourself have you been carrying for years? अब सोचो जो कल आंसर लिखा था उसके बारे में. Did you choose that belief or did you someone give it to you? कहाँ से आया? Anybody wants to add on to this? This is what I wanted to share, but yeah. Pranavi, do you want to share anything?
Nothing much. I mean, whatever you have read, it's just trying to highlight on the power of the belief and this the influence of the mind on the health as well. And one thing is that he would live until Christmas karke. They all gave a thought and he also gave a thought. So
because
his
he
condition,
wanted, है ना,
yeah,
वो चाहता ही था कि मैं क्रिसमस तक बस जी जाऊं, उसके बाद
yeah.
जो होगा देखा जाएगा. It's okay.
So it's a clear indication that your beliefs is directly proportional to your body. I mean, your beliefs would affect the physical body also. That's what I have learned.
Now, if we have any body aches, if we have any problems in our body, you can heal your life. Louise Hay की book सामने ले आओ, उसके अंदर पूरा चार्ट दिया है. Today only I was telling my daughter about how I used to have knee pain and I was eating arthritis की दवाइयाँ on दवाइयाँ. And later when we read this book, I realized कि ये इसकी problem नहीं है. Every time I fight with my husband, I have this ego problem with him and I start having knee pains. I stopped doing that. I stopped giving that power. And it's been more than a year that I have taken the pills. चाहिए नहीं है. And she was like, अच्छा, send me the screenshots of the book जहाँ पे ये सारा चार्ट दिया है. I said I will send you the PDF. उसके अंदर खुद ढूंढती रहे बैठ के. कहाँ पर दर्द है, कहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है और मेरे क्या इमोशंस चल रहे हैं. All right, Tasneem, do you want to share anything?
Hmm. Yeah, the power of affirmations, the power of thought, and how it really impacted his life, his whole life is amazing.
Thank you.
A true example.
Yes. और हम कहते हैं ना, कई लोगों में बड़ी विल पावर होती है, वो कितना जी जाते हैं.
Hmm.
It is not about how healthy or unhealthy you are. It is about how you wish it to be.
Hmm. Where there is a will, there is a way.
Absolutely. Preeti, let's hear it from you, dear.
Yes, because that person, he was given the information and he accepted that information, and that information became his destiny because he believed that it's going to happen. And even if doctor realized later that he didn't have the cancer, which could really kill her, but it's the he belief, because he believed that it's going to happen. And and due to that, because your body listen everything whatever you tell it, and then it becomes your destiny. It becomes, yeah, your destiny. And whatever it's, that's why these days we need to, it's really important ki what is going in our brain. We need to just think positively, and just we need to stop and pause, and then like reframe, and we need to be more aware even while thinking as well, because
And
because it affects our body and all our body parts. Because it's like we read in the book, another book, isn't it? It's like yes universe, whatever we say and it becomes yes.
Tathastu. Yes.
Tathastu.
Yes, absolutely. Amazing. Thank you so much, Preeti, for sharing that. And let's hear it from Komal.
Yeah, I mentioned in the beginning also, it's the belief system uh, that makes a difference. Mm. We should be careful in choosing our thoughts and choosing our beliefs.
Do you remember we read some book जिसके अंदर हम बोल रहे थे, अरे यार अब तो ये भी केयरफुल रहना पड़ेगा अब कि हम सोच क्या रहे हैं. Because your thoughts become your destiny.
Yes.
Amazing. Nishay, what do you have to share on this?
We should be more careful when we speak anything to ourselves, and also filter what other people tell to ourselves, to us.
कि ये मेरे को एक्सेप्ट भी करना है कि इसको बाहर से भारी कर
हाँ
दो.
हाँ हाँ, right. So we shouldn't accept anything, or we shouldn't take it by face value what people say. It should be only positive things that we should take in, and negative things we should filter out.
Absolutely.
Like he is
Because
saying from his point of view.
हाँ बिल्कुल. We believe. So हमारे को कोई भी सच्ची बात ये है ना कि अगर मेरे को मेरे हस्बैंड कह देते तेरे में दिमाग नहीं है क्या, हमारे को गुस्सा क्यों आता है? हमारे को गुस्सा इसलिए आता है क्योंकि समवेयर वी बिलीव कि मेरे में दिमाग नहीं है. अगर वो बोले मेरे को तो फनी जोक लगना चाहिए इफ इट इज नॉट ट्रू. Oh my God, seriously? Right? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Nisha. Is there anything else that you want to add to it?
no, that's it.
Great. Did you get a chance? Did you get the chance to sit with yourself to ask you the question I gave you last night?
What was the question?
वाह क्या बात. तस्नीम जी जरा बता दो क्या क्वेश्चन था.
To read your thoughts? नहीं, autopilot. Where in your life are you going? Autopilot.
Yes.
Because I was with it for the whole day.
Yeah. And now I remember. I will be ready with it on Monday.
Monday. अभी आज 2 question और add होंगे.
Okay. Do put that in group as well.
I'll
so
do
that I
that. I'll do
can.
that. And who is iPad?
Yeah.
Acha, you are Pranavi, you are the iPad as well?
No,
Chalo.
I'm not Karishma.
आप तो iPhone हो ना?
iPhone hai, yeah. Not
Okay, so
iPad.
hello iPad. What's your good
This
name?
is Dr. Muskan.
Hi, Muskan. How are you?
I'm happy.
Wow, amazing. So what do you have to say on what we have discussed so far?
It was bulb on for me that what people say we believe it, but people live in predictions. So we must not believe in what people are saying, whether we must create the stories in our own favor.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And let's move forward. थोड़ा सा और पढ़ते हैं. मजा आ रहा है?
Yes.
बोरिंग तो नहीं लग रहा निश्चय?
Not till now.
Great. Can you overdose on placebo? Good question, huh? 26-year-old graduate student Fred Manson, not his real name, became depressed when his girlfriend broke up with him. He saw an ad for a clinical trial of a new antidepressant medication and decided to enroll. He had a bout of depression 4 years previously, at which time his doctor prescribed the antidepressant, kuch to Elvil, but Manson had been forced to stop the medication when he became excessively drowsy and developed numbness. He had felt the drug was too strong for him, now hoped the new drug would have fewer side effects. After he had been in the study for about a month, he decided to call his ex-girlfriend. The two of them argued on the phone, and after Manson had hung up, he impulsively grabbed his bottle of pills from the trial and swallowed all 29 that were left in the container, attempting suicide. He immediately repented. Running into the hallway of his apartment building, Manson desperately called out for help and then collapsed on the floor. A neighbor heard his cry and found him on the ground. Withing, he told his neighbor he had made a terrible mistake, that he had taken all his pills but didn't really want to die. When he asked the neighbor to take him to the hospital, she agreed. When Manson got to the emergency room, he was pale and sweating, and his blood pressure was 80/40 with a pulse rate of 140. Breathing rapidly, he kept repeating, "I don't want to die." When the doctors examined him, they found nothing wrong other than his low blood pressure, rapid pulse, and rapid breathing. Even so, he seemed lethargic and his speech was slurred. The medical team inserted an IV and hooked it up to the saline drip, took samples of Manson's blood and urine, and asked what drug he had taken. Mason could not remember the name. He told the doctor it was an experimental antidepressant drug that was part of a trial. He then handed them the empty bottle, which indeed had information about clinical trial printed on the label, although not the name of the drug. There was nothing to do but wait for the lab results, monitor his vital signs to make sure he didn't take a turn for the worse, and hope that the hospital staff could contact the researchers who were conducting the trial. 4 hours later, after the result of the lab test came totally normal, a physician who had been part of the clinical drug trial arrived. Checking the code of label on Manson's empty pill bottle, the researcher looked into the records for the trial. He announced that Mason had actually been taking a placebo and that the pill he had swallowed contained no drugs at all. Miraculously, Mason's blood pressure and pulse returned to normal within a few minutes. And as if by magic, he was no longer excessively drowsy either. Mason had fallen victim of the nocebo, a harmless substance that, thanks to strong expectations, causes harmful effects. Is it really possible that Mason's symptoms had been brought on solely because that's what he had expected to happen from swallowing a huge handful of antidepressants? Could Mason's mind, as in the case of Sam Londe, have taken control of his body, driven by expectations of what seemed to be the most probable future scenario, to extent that he made that scenario real? Would that happen even if that meant his mind would have to take control of functions not normally under conscious control? And if that were possible, could it also be true that if our thoughts can make us sick, we also have the ability to use our thoughts to make us well? All right. अब ये भी डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. Good evening, Neha. Thank you for joining in. Who wants to go first? मेरी स्क्रीन पे ना जो जो जैसे जैसे ज्वाइन करता है उसका वैसे वैसे सीन ऐसे से आता है रैंक. So let's hear it from Tasneem first.
Can you just share that page? Sabi?
अच्छा, you want to see the page?
Yeah,
कौन से वाला? This one, the story वाला?
the one that we are reading.
हाँ, ये लो. ये भी पढ़ ले. Chronic depression magically lifts.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. It's up to you. Or if it is different, maybe.
हाँ, मैं वही चेक करना चाह रही हूँ. I think this is a different story. Janice Sponfeld की है. Okay. Yes. Let's hear it. Tasneem, do you want to share anything on this?
It is like as we think, so it happens. And because he thought he got very scared that they were the pills were so dangerous. He got upset, but he didn't want to die. That was his thought, and that worked for him.
Yes. नहीं तो हो सकता था ना. Do you remember the chronic corona times? जिसको जितना जितना डर लगा वो उतना उतना ज्यादा बीमार हो.
Yes. And there were people who were really telling me, you are mad or something, you have not taken the vaccination. How is it you are surviving? And I think I was the only one who did not take in my own family also.
Great. वैसे हम लोगों ने भी नहीं लगवाई. Because my husband was also very against it. He was like, it is nothing. They're just inserting this chip in you. You're going to get even more unwell if you start taking it. If you do the medication, but yeah, we are not discussing that. But chalo, thank you, Tasneem, for sharing that. Preeti, would you like to share?
That is again another story about belief system, because he knew that they were doing experiment of antidepressant, and he already believed that it's going to do some harm if he take that, and especially because he took the whole bottle, or he took so many, and he believed that, oh, because I took so many, I'm going to die. That's why his his body started showing all the symptoms. And then again, like, he got sick because of that. And later when he came to know that, oh, there was nothing, and then suddenly he realized, oh, then he said, no, I'm fine. As soon as you are given information, you start believing it, and your body starts responding according to that, and you start changing your thoughts.
Thank you so much, Preeti, for sharing that. And Pranavi, what do you have to share on this?
Yeah, I think here the author is trying us to install in the opposite direction as well. Here, this particular person has imagined that he has taken an overdose. Not imagine, yes, he has taken, but there was no actual drug inside that. And he has imagined in such a way that he was able to feel the side effects of the drug, like whatever palpitations and his BP and all rising and all. So here the thing is, he has taken it in a negative form. If I take, because I have taken an overdose of it, so my body would affect in this way. If you take it in the contrary way, like as he has taken a negative thought, negative things has worked on his body. So if we take a positive thing, if we take a positive thought, the same thing affects on our body in the positive way as well. So I mean, I'm just not able to explain it clearly, but when there is when a negative thought gets executed, body works in a negative direction. Similarly, obviously, if you take a positive one, positive would get affected on the body. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Pranavi, for sharing that. And let's hear it from Komal.
I agree that, thoughts played a major role, but I think that's a normal reaction. Like anybody will have eating so many pills at one go, and but we didn't know it was a placebo, and so you can get that.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your perspective. Let's hear it from Mishra.
And yeah, what I understood is like even our thoughts are more powerful than substance. Like all those things, like his body started behaving that way. It must be something. Even without substance and all those things, and without drugs and all, he start behaving that way. So whatever it is, like cure and harm, would be mimicked by or simulated by our thoughts or our belief system.
Amazing. True. Very true. Thank you so much, Nishra. And I loved how you asked me to share the screen so that you can read it again. I like that. I like that. Just imagine we have a doctor with us as well. So let's hear it from Dr. Muskan ki what does she have to share on this and how much does she agree to this? Yes,
In
Muskan.
this, like I have a practical incident. There was my mother's friend son. He was having cancer, and he was when we get into the core of it, we come to know that he does not believe in himself. That is why he has उसका spleen भी remove हो गया था. And in the meantime, he was reading that book, Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And उसमें वो मतलब particular cancer का reason था. And then he worked on his belief system. And now he's having girlfriend also. He's enjoying his life. So business भी मस्त हो गया. So placebo effect.
Great, wonderful. And what's in for us to take away from here?
That belief is the repetition of the thoughts. So we have to check what I'm repeating inside of me. If I'm repeating negative stuff, it is going to make my life mess. So I have to repeat the right stories to me.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Muskan, for sharing that. And let's hear it from Neha. Neha, are you traveling? Can you unmute yourself and share? या फिर आपकी चैट में इंतजार करूं? चलो चैट में इंतजार करेंगे. हाँ, very fascinating story in fact. Fred Manson ने 29 pills खा ली. उनको लगा कि he has overdosed और उसकी बॉडी इमीडिएटली रिएक्ट करनी शुरू हो गई. And just imagine, blood pressure drop हो गया, pulse rate shot up, he became weak, स्पीच टू एन एक्सटेंट कि वो स्लर्ड होनी शुरू हो गई एंड डॉक्टर्स वर वरीड. उसकी सारी जो भी रिपोर्ट्स थी सब ठीक थी, बट व्हाट वाज हैपनिंग विद दिस पर्सन. And then something unbelievable happened. A researcher arrived and informed him that those pills were placebos. There were no medicines. कोई पॉइजन नहीं था, कोई ओवरडोज नहीं हुई है, कुछ नहीं हुआ है. एंड देन विदिन मिनट्स उसके सिम्टम्स डिसअपियर हो गए. तो फिर सिम्टम्स क्यों कॉज हुए थे? व्हाई व्हाट कॉज द सिम्टम्स? चार पांच चीजें. हमारी एक्सपेक्टेशंस, फियर, बिलीफ, and the mind believed that danger existed because I have taken the full bottle of the pills. With the result, the body responded accordingly. Imagine करो कि आप एक हॉरर मूवी देख रहे हो, you know it is fake, तब भी उसको देख के आप your heart races, आपको स्वेटिंग हो जाती है, आपकी बॉडी रिएक्ट करती है. क्यों? Because the brain does not always respond to reality. It responds to what it believes is reality. अच्छा, मेरी अभी ना बुक रीडिंग क्लब से पहले my father rarely calls me. And as soon as I saw Papa calling, ऐसे होता है मेरे को. क्या हो गया? Have you ever received a late night phone call and immediately thought कि कुछ गलत तो नहीं हो गया?
अगर बे टाइम पे कॉल आती है तो देन ऑब्वियसली तुम्हारे दिमाग में पहले नेगेटिव चीज ही आती है कि ओ व्हाट इज रॉन्ग.
स्पेशली उस इंसान का फोन आ जाए जो फोन करता ही ना हो, तो लगता है ओप्स कुछ तो नहीं हो गया. एंड बिफोर आंसरिंग आप एक सेकेंड रुकते हो, आपका हार्ट थोड़ा सा ऐसे थोड़ी थोड़ी हार्ट बीट तेज होनी शुरू हो जाती है. अभी कुछ हुआ नहीं होता है, बट आपकी बॉडी ऑलरेडी रिएक्शन में चली जाती है. क्यों? थॉट्स, एक्सपेक्टेशंस एंड इंटरप्रिटेशन. थॉट्स, एक्सपेक्टेशंस एंड इंटरप्रिटेशन. कभी कभी हम फ्यूचर की टेंशन में आज ही सफर कर लेते हैं. कैसे? इंटरव्यू कल है, स्ट्रेस आज. रिपोर्ट नेक्स्ट वीक आनी है, फियर आज है. 12th का रिजल्ट आना 1 महीने के बाद, आज स्ट्रेस. कन्वर्सेशन अभी हुई भी नहीं, एंजाइटी पहले शुरू हो जाती है. हमारी बॉडी रियलिटी से ज्यादा इमेजिनेशन पे रिएक्ट करती है. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू क्राई व्हाइल वाचिंग मूवीज?
यस यस. और उसके बारे में सोचते भी रहते हो. कई आजकल तो मैं कई बारी अगर ट्रू मूवी वो देख लेती हूँ तो कई दिन तक मेरे दिमाग में वो ही चलता रहता है. वो फिर स्टोरी वो जाती नहीं है, कई 3-4 दिन बाद जाती है.
एग्जैक्टली. जस्ट सोचो इस बारे में कि इफ थॉट्स कैन क्रिएट सिम्टम्स, तो थॉट्स तो इट कैन क्रिएट हीलिंग एज वेल. एन ऑथर भी हमारे को इसी पे रिफ्लेक्ट करने के लिए कह रहा है.
Yeah, that's what I told, no, Karishma. Subtly, in the contrary way, he has communicated us in the other way also.
Yes, absolutely. वो हमारे को ये नहीं कह रहे कि he is not asking us to believe, blindly believe करो. He is inviting us, in fact, to become curious. कि ऐसा भी हो सकता है क्या? Chapter 1 जो है ना, it is not about convincing us. It is about opening our minds. The author is saying कि before you reject the possibility कि thoughts affect the body, look at the evidences, look at the stories. और अब तो हम देखो ना, आपस में ही ये बात करते करते हमारे को पता चल गया हमारी लाइफ में ये स्टोरीज अकर करती है एवरीडे बेसिस पे. And ask yourself, maybe there is more inside me than I realized. Yes. That's it. I think we will stop the session here. I think this is a good space. This is a good place for us to reflect on a few questions, which I will be sharing in the group. Weekend है, आराम से उसके ऊपर ponder करना. I will also share the recordings of yesterday as well as today. But yes, before we close today's session, today we learned that हमारे beliefs and expectations जो हैं, it can influence our body far more than we realize. सैम लॉन्डे की जो स्टोरी थी, फ्रेड मैनसन की जो स्टोरी थी, दोनों से वी एक्सप्लोर्ड हाउ माइंड कैन समटाइम्स क्रिएट पावरफुल फिजिकल इफेक्ट्स जो हार्मफुल भी हो सकते हैं और बेनिफिशियल भी हो सकते हैं. एंड टुडेज सेशन leaves us with the question ki if our thoughts can make us sick, could they also help us heal and transform? And agar haan, to what and for what are we waiting? Kis cheez ki intezar hai? Why are we still stuck in those old patterns? And this is a very important question for you to sit with, so that वो जो शिफ्ट हम चाह रहे हैं ना जिंदगी में, हम सबने अपनी कहीं ना कहीं जगह पे लिखा कल बुक में, वो शिफ्ट आएगा. पर वो थॉट के ऊपर काम करेंगे तब आएगा, बिलीफ पे काम करेंगे तब आएगा. बिलीफ ऐसे नहीं बनता है, रिपीटेड थॉट्स की वजह से बिलीफ बनता है. तो हम थॉट्स पे काम करें. ठीक है? That's it for today. I hope this session made sense. And I'm looking forward to have each one of you with me on Monday. And till then, take good care of yourself. Enjoy your weekend. And don't forget to reflect on the questions that I'll be sharing in the group as well.
The questions and the PDF as well.
Yes.
Karishma.
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Thank you. Bye-bye. Lovely
Good night,
weekend.
good night
Thank
to
you.
all. All
Thank
have
you.
a very happy weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining.
Have a lovely weekend, all. Good
Thank
night.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.